Seeing none, we will then move to a vote, and I will ask staff to call the roll.
There's one public comment coming up.
There is a public comment?
You're going to vote. It's okay.
It's okay. You have... I didn't see you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was a little bit late. Thank you for accommodating me. Kimberly Rodriguez with the Association of California School Administrators. There's two issues that in the vote only section, one dealing with instructional materials, which we've been in contact with your staff on regarding trailer bill. We support the direction the committee is going in terms of trying to mitigate the issue of tying the instructional material language to adoptions, because we don't adopt at the state level anymore. Locals are allowed to only make sure the instructional materials or standards align. So any change to that language, we would like that consideration to be taken into account. And the second thing on the visually impaired instructional materials issue, we thank you for funding the clearinghouse at this department level for the budget year. This is a critical program, particularly obviously for our visually impaired and blind students. The economies of scale can be underscored, and the state's role in this endeavor is critical. There is, part of the action is to adopt trailer bill language to the intent to look at a fee, and we appreciate the inclusion of administrators in that discussion. I also would ask the language to consider also to make sure that any fee benefits on economies of scale and looks at those cost issues that districts might encounter in that process. Thank you.
Thank you. Next comment.
Thank you. Very briefly, Andrea Ball on behalf of the California School Boards Association. I just want to echo my colleagues' comments from AXA on the instructional materials for visually impaired. I'm really happy about what's going on in next year, but to charge a fee we think would be the wrong move. Thank you.
Thank you. Next comment.
Hi again, Leilani Aguinaldo-Yi on behalf of the Los Angeles Unified School District. I just want to echo the remarks made by Ms. Kimberly Rodriguez for AXA regarding the instructional materials for the visually impaired. We do have concerns regarding the proposal for a fee structure in 15-16, and just underscore everything that she iterated. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and staff is taking note, and we will consider those comments. At this point, we're going to move to a vote, and it's a fairly substantial packet of items. You all have the packet, have had an opportunity to read the packet and to comment on any individual items. So rather than having staff read each of the proposals, we are going to vote on the proposals in one at a time, but without reading each individual proposal. So let's begin with item one. Well, actually, if Senator Liu would so move, we can take all of the items from pages 6 to 25 together.
Okay. I move pages 6. Item 6 to pages 25. I would move staff recommendations for inclusive, I guess, up to the state medium income. Is that what you want to stop?
Up to state operations, I believe. Page 26.
Oh, 26, okay. Through 25, okay. I move staff's recommendations.
Okay, thank you.
Pages 6 through 25.
Please call the roll.
Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Liu?
Aye.
Senator Weiland?
Thank you. Please show that passing 2-0 and close the roll. And now, Senator Liu, we don't usually take motion, we do one item, but since we're doing a whole packet,
Right.
I'd like it to be clear on the roll. We're doing from item 30, which is on page 26, to item 45 on page 36.
Page 36. Okay, I move staff to local assistance. I move staff's recommendations from item 2, State Department of Education, State Operations.
37 in the new packet? Okay. All right.
Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Liu?
Aye.
Senator Weiland?
Please show that passing 2-0 and close the roll. We move now to the items on local assistance.
Item 3, move staff's recommendations from page 36 to page 45 to school facilities.
Right.
48.
Okay, we've got updated.
including state facilities.
Okay. Item number 70, just two item number 70 is the easiest way to do it. We've got different pagination on different
Okay.
iterations of the agenda.
To item 70.
Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Lou?
Aye.
Senator Wyland?
Please show that passing 2-0 and close the roll. And now we move on to the last set of items, these on school facilities under Roman numeral 4 from page 45. Well, let's see, from item 71 through 72.
Okay, I move staff's recommendation for those two items.
Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Lou?
Aye.
Senator Wyland?
Please show that passing 2-0 and close the roll. And that concludes Part A of our agenda. We now move on to Part B of our agenda. Thank you for those who attended just for Part A. Part B, we move to first the vote-only items. These are listed on Agenda Part B, items 1 through 8, dealing with library accounts, CSAC. I'll go through them all. State Law Library Special Account, CSAC Technical Account and Trailer Bill Language, Performance Measurement Reporting Language, Innovation Awards, CSU Trailer Bill Language, CSU Capital Outlay Reappropriation, Health Benefits for CSU Annuitants, and CSU Infrastructure. Those are items 1 through 8. If any members of the public wish to speak on any of those items before they move to vote, again, we've discussed these in the past, they're vote only now, but if anyone wishes to comment before the vote, you may do so. Seeing none, we'll just take one item at a time, and I'll ask staff to read the item and the recommendation and call the roll.
Issue 1, State Law Library Special Account. The staff reco is to approve as proposed. Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Lou?
Aye.
Senator Wyland?
Show that passing 2-0 and close the roll.
I do have a question on issue 2.
Okay.
The subcommittee has been asked to remove the language regarding the cohort default rate. What does that mean in terms of granting these institutions, exemptions from these institutions?
We have LAO coming up to respond.
And what's the consequences of that? What are the consequences?
Judy Hyman, Legislative Analyst's Office. Since 2012-13, institutions have had to maintain a cohort default rate of 15.5% maximum. It had to be less than 15.5%, and have a graduation rate of at least 30%. There was an exception for institutions that didn't meet the graduation rate. If they had a better cohort default rate, less than 10%, their graduation rate could slide down to 20%, and they were given a few extra years to meet the regular requirements. That would be through 2016-17, and then they would have to meet the regular requirements. And that was done because there were some schools, one in particular, CSU Dominguez Hills, which because of some admissions decisions made back in the mid-2000s was seeing some very low graduation rates. They had put in place efforts to change their admission practices and to help those students improve their success rates, and they've been making good progress. What the proposal does is it maintains the exception for schools that still haven't quite gotten to 30. They can have graduation rate as low as 20, but it changes the default rate requirement so that they don't have to be below 10%. They just have to be below the 15.5%. And the only school that we can identify at this point that would be affected by that is, again, Dominguez Hills. Those admissions decisions that they made in the mid-2000s, in addition to affecting their graduation rates for a few years, have also had a small impact on their default rate. So likely to be above the 10% sometime in this period before 2016-17. But they've put in place a number of practices. They're making good progress, and it looks like by the deadline they will have met the requirements.
So, my concern is that we just say this blanketly toward CSUs, and we don't call out Dominguez Hills as the exception to the rule. And, does it have bigger consequences of just, I want more graduation, a higher graduation rate than what is presented here. So I'm concerned about.
Yeah, I think we all want to see greater student success,
Yeah, right.
obviously, and you've done a lot of work in the area. At this point, Dominguez Hills is making strides to improve with some of the new
Right.
ideas we're implementing. Hopefully they
Right.
will. But to not approve this now will basically take Cal grants away from the
of
many low-income
students.
students at Dominguez Hills, and we don't want to really do that.
Okay, all right, but
Yeah, I hear
we're
you.
watching it till 2016? That's it?
Right,
Okay,
through 2016-17.
all right,
Please call the roll. Thank you.
thank you.
So issue number 2, CSAC technical adjustment and trailer bill language approved as proposed. Senator Block.
Aye.
Senator Liu.
Aye.
Senator Wyland.
Show that passing 2-0 and close the roll.
Issue 3, performance measure reporting language. The RECO is approved as proposed. Senator Block.
Aye.
Senator Liu.
Aye.
Senator Wyland.
Show that passing 2-0, close the roll.
Issue 4, innovation awards. The recommendation is to reject the governor's proposal and redirect $30 million total, $15 million each for UC and CSU to address deferred maintenance issues. Senator Block.
Let me ask for clarification, but then the balance of that's 30 million out of the 50. So the balance will then go back to the general fund? Okay.
Oh, that was my question, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why didn't you just give each of them, split it? 25 each.
Actually, in a budget discussion that took into account all of the budget needs, it was determined that at this point, at least, pending conference committee and negotiations with the governor, this would be the allocation,
A prudent allocation.
a prudent allocation.
Except that I think both systems have much-needed deferred maintenance of well above the $15 million that we're giving them, correct?
No question about that.
Okay. I was just curious, that's all.
Senator Block.
Aye.
Senator Liu.
Aye.
Senator Wyland.
Show that passing 2-0 and close the roll.
Issue 5, CSU trailer bill language. The recommendation is approved as proposed. Senator Block.
Aye.
Senator Liu.
Aye.
Senator Wyland. Issue 6, CSU capital outlay reappropriation. The recommendation is approved as proposed. Senator Block.
Aye.
Senator Liu.
Aye.
Senator
But I
Wyland.
do, this item appears again in item 8, CSU infrastructure, so I'll ask my question then.
Okay, show item 6 passing 2-0 and close the
Yes.
roll on item 6. We'll go to 7.
Item 7, healthcare benefits for CSU annuitants. The recommendation is approved as proposed. Senator Block.
Aye.
Senator Liu.
Aye.
Senator Wyland.
And Senator Liu, you have a question on item 8 then?
Well, no, I mean, it means, item 6 just indicates to me, so, we're going to, this has already been in the pipeline. CSU needs a new administration building. My only question was, what about student needs? Does Pomona not have other needs
Excuse me, I missed
to
your
address,
question.
to address student needs? Item 6, I'm talking about, we already approved it on CSU Pomona. You've asked for a new administration building, and my little comment was, what about students? Do they need new facilities?
There are...
Identify yourself first.
Excuse me, I apologize. Vi San Juan, California State University. There are additional needs on campus. We have 5-year plans from Pomona that have additional projects, but this is, the existing administration building is seismically deficient, so this takes care of a problem of a high-priority seismic problem.
So it's a high priority. It's going to fall down soon?
Well, there's a fault that runs on campus, but this is a student services building, so it will
Oh, a student
address
services building.
a
Okay.
number of student needs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll move now to item 8.
Item 8, the CSU infrastructure proposal. The staff recommendation is to reject the governor's proposal, recreate a separate line item for CSU's budget for lease revenue, bond debt service, and return CSU's GEO bond debt service cost to statewide appropriation, and adopt placeholder trailer bill language as outlined in the agenda. Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Liu?
Aye.
Senator Wiley?
Okay, please show that passing 2-0 and close the roll. And now we move to the last item on our agenda, which is the CSU budget package. For that, we have a panel. I'd ask representatives from the CSU, Department of Finance, LAO to all please come forward. Okay, CSU, would you like to begin on this?
That'd be my pleasure. Ryan Storm with CSU. Thank you very much, members of the committee. We really appreciate the staff recommendation here, which is would do a whole lot of things for the CSU. First and foremost, as you all know, we have a incredible number of students that have had to be denied access to the CSUs. And with this action of adding $95 million to the budget, we'll be able to successfully add approximately 20,000 students to our university, which is great, not only for educating individuals, but also for the larger state workforce. So greatly appreciate that. The other piece, too, that I think will be really beneficial is that our staff, both faculty and staff, as well as prospective CSU students would benefit greatly from this proposal, and the fact that we're able to retain and attract the most qualified individuals to educate our students going forward. The other thing too that I'd like to point out is that, and you mentioned this, Senator Liu, this notion that we have about $1.8 billion worth of deferred maintenance on our campuses, and you'll probably hear it a little bit later. There'll probably be some students or somebody will mention some particular building on one of our campuses that is in some deficiency in some significant way. And what this proposal will allow us to do will allow us to start tackling that deferred maintenance. Obviously, it's a small step, but we'll be able to address some of those most critical pieces of our campus. So we're really grateful to your staff and to all of you for investing in CSU, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Finance, do you want to comment?
Sure. Krish Masmendi with the Department of Finance. We're opposed to the staff's recommendation. We've talked about our concerns in the past. I'll just summarize them briefly, but I think our largest concern is with the general fund augmentation. We proposed an amount in the governor's budget that we felt was sustainable within the state's multi-year budgetary forecasts. We don't think providing additional funding is reasonable if we can't necessarily fund it in future years. Our second concern is with the mandates that were added back into the CSU's budget, that the CSU use funds for particular purposes. We think they're unnecessary and largely distract from the state's broader goals for higher education related to success and student performance. And we'd also note that the staff recommendation, as the committee took action on with the UC, adds funding back at levels that the university is currently spending, which we don't think takes into account changes in needs, certain efficiencies, and the availability of other funds that could be used to support these programs. Our third point would be about enrollment growth. We've noted in the past, and the governor has noted in the past, that enrollment-based funding doesn't create the appropriate incentives, particularly related to student performance. And we're concerned also about whether growth is necessary, given projections of the college-age population in future years, and particularly the remediation needs of many students at the CSU. And finally, we'd oppose the elimination of the sustainability plan. The staffs, we talked about this when we discussed UC, but we think this is a way in which we can kind of better understand the CSU's priorities and how they use funding and how they live within the means that the state can reasonably fund in the future. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. LAO's comments, please.
we'd like to acknowledge that you have specified some particular uses for the augmentation, which we believe is an improvement over the completely unallocated augmentation that had been proposed. But we would note that still much of it is unallocated. So it will be important to look at the performance measures and other ways that you're holding the institutions accountable for funding. Regarding the enrollment growth and the need for enrollment growth, it seems clear that there is a need at CSU for enrollment growth. They have been turning away CSU eligible students. However, Mr. Osminia has a point in that we don't really have a good solid basis to know how much enrollment growth is needed, and we would recommend doing an enrollment eligibility study to get a better handle on that. And then finally, while you are reinserting language regarding legislative priorities, you might want to consider finding ways to assess the outcomes of some of those specific programs, just like you're looking at programmatic outcomes for the broader educational program, so that in the future you can periodically review and see if they continue to be state priorities.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Well, when you talk about an enrollment eligibility study, would you, the LAO, do that? Or are you talking about somebody independent to do that, or the university to do that?
We would recommend a study similar to the ones that took place previously under the Post-Secondary Education Commission, where much of the work is actually performed by UC and CSU with assistance from the Department of Education. The Post-Secondary Education Committee had been the organization to which the appropriation was made, and then they filtered the money to the other agencies as needed. So you would need to find a middle agent like that, but much of the work could be completed by the UC and CSU.
Okay. The data work, the data collection is just that, yes, short of not having a CPAC, this is what we're kind of left with.
Exactly.
Yes, and so, okay.
And Senator Lou, I believe the Assembly included a small amount for an eligibility study in their budget proposal so that it will be part of conference committee discussion.
Unless we match it.
That's correct.
Do you know how much that is they put in? Okay, we'll just leave it as it. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or comments before we go to public comment on this issue? Okay, thank the panel. Thank you and excuse you for now. And we'll ask members of the public if they have any comment on the CSU budget package. Please come up, take the 4 chairs, and anybody left over, please stand in line. Again, ask you to limit your comments to just 1 minute at a maximum. If you have additional comments, we'll take anything in writing that you have for us. And please begin by stating your name and any organization you might represent, beginning on my left, your right.
Hi, my name is Lillian Tays, and I'm president of the California Faculty Association. We represent the faculty who teach on the 23 campuses of the CSU. I'd like to start off by thanking you, Mr. Chair, and members of the committee, and the leadership of this House for making the CSU a priority in terms of reinvestment. The CSU is a vital part of our economy. We graduate 100,000 students every year. The state gets back $5 for every dollar it invests in the CSU. After years of cuts, we appreciate this proposed increase in funding. We believe it will be a significant step in the right direction for the thousands of students who are clamoring to go to college. On behalf of the members of CFA, I'd like to thank you and let you know that CFA looks forward to continuing to work with you, Mr. Chair, and the members to make sure that our state's higher education system remains accessible, affordable, and continues to provide quality higher education so California can prosper.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Kelsey Brewer, and I'm currently a student at California State University of Fullerton, and I work with our associate students. Myself and my colleagues wanted to come up here and personally thank you for your effort to support our students, not only at Cal State Fullerton, but across the CSU system. This additional $95 million will improve our academic advising and hire more tenure faculty, which automatically increases the quality of education that our students receive. I work in student advocacy, meaning that I have to fight a lot of cynicism when working with our students, and this is a step in the right direction that tells our students that you care about the struggles that they face and the fights that they have to come to every single day. So thank you for supporting the CSU and standing with us.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael. I'm the incoming executive vice president for the student body at Cal State Fullerton, and I also wanted to thank you for your consideration for this $95 million. And since deferred maintenance was a subject that we talked about, I just wanted to let you know a little bit about our campus. And we have $150 million of deferred maintenance, including a couple elevators that don't work, so accessibility for students to get onto floors that they need to get onto, and one section of our library that is completely shut off for students. So you could imagine that finals week was a bit hectic this year with no space in that section of the library for students to use. So thank you again, and with that, I'll pass it on to
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, respected members of the committee. My name is Harpreet Singh Bhatt. I'm a fourth-year business student at Cal State Fullerton, and I'm also the incoming student body president. I would like to thank you for taking the initiative to increase the funding to the CSU by $95 million. Over my time at Cal State Fullerton, I've seen the acceptance rate drop from 55 to 45%. I've seen deferred maintenance stack up and drastically low numbers of tenure-track faculty at Cal State Fullerton. Speaking on behalf of some of our other CSU campuses, at Fresno State there was an incident where they had to buy a part from a museum due to an old and ancient nature of the power grid that powered their business school because it went down. Also, there have been full buildings that have been shut down at universities at Cal State LA and at San Francisco State University. There are some pressing needs that need to be addressed, and by taking the step to fund additional $95 million, that will greatly help the access to the education in the CSU and provide more opportunity to our students. So I greatly urge you to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Last speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Meredith Turner, and I'm here on behalf of the California State Student Association, which represents these students along with the rest of them in the CSU. And I think what you've heard from these students today is that both today and yesterday have been incredibly exciting for students, because based on their stories, what's going to come from your leadership and your advocacy on behalf of students are tangible results that we're going to be able to see. We're going to see an additional 20,000 students admitted, mostly transfer students, and in addition of many more core sections on our campuses across the system, and that's going to mean less time to degree, which I think we can all agree is a priority in the CSU. So thank you, and we hope you will continue your advocacy as we work with the governor to make sure he includes the $95 million. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, thank you to all the speakers. You all did a great job because you were happy with what we're doing. And now we will ask staff to please read the recommendation, and we'll move to a vote.
Staff's recommendation is to augment general fund support for the CSU by $95 million over the governor's budget proposal, to add provisional budget bill language requiring 5% enrollment growth, adopt trailer bill language declaring an 18-month moratorium on new student success fees, augment $500,000 in additional to the $95 million, and budget bill language to establish the California Legislative Staff Educational Institute within the Center for California Studies at CSU, add provisional language reinserting statewide priorities in CSU's budget, and to reject the governor's sustainability plan. Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Liu?
Aye.
Senator Wiley?
Please show that passing 2-0 and close the roll. And with that, is there any other business for today's meeting? I don't think so. In that case, this meeting is adjourned.